Hello, my name is Jimmy Vegas and welcome to this, the fourth in a series of video tutorials for Unity 5. Okay, so in this episode we'll be looking at playing around with our terrain mainly, which is this big green thing right here. So in the last episode we put it in, we textured it, and we created a few little kind of bumps around it. So in this episode, like I say, we're going to be looking at some environmental kind of things. So we'll be looking at maybe putting in a lake or a river just over here. We'll be importing a few new textures to kind of give a bit more realism to our terrain rather than just grass. And we'll also look at putting a texture on this mountain so it looks a bit more like a mountain rather than a big grass bulge. So let's just turn our camera around, face our village again, and we'll zoom in a touch. So first things first, what we'll do is we will import this dirt002. So drag and drop into Unity, and as always our assets we use on this tutorial are available for free on our website. And on that same subject, we have started up a brand new channel. It's called the Retro Look Back. So if you're into retro games, say from Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, Sony PlayStation, Super Nintendo, anything like that, go check it out. There's a link in the description for the video as well. Or you can just search on YouTube for the Retro Look Back. We talk about retro games. It's good fun. Check it out. So we've imported this asset here, dirt002. So if you now select your terrain, which we named as world 001, click on the paintbrush just here, and if you remember, that's how we added in the grass texture. So if you go to Edit Textures and Add Texture, and then drag dirt002 into both of those little windows there, and click Add. So you'll notice this appears just here. So if you click on it, and let's change the settings here. So let's change the brush size to, let's change it to 20. I think 20 is a good number. Opacity we will keep as 100 for now. I'm going to select this brush just here. So by our buildings, I'm just going to click. And you'll notice that the ground has now changed from the grass to the light dirt. So I'm going to do a little bit more just around here. I'm now going to click this and then change the opacity to 14 and just click on the outside around the village. This kind of gives it a grassy sort of look, but also mixed in with the dirt. So now I'm going to select this one. I'm going to change the brush size to 7 and the opacity to about 55. I think that's a good figure. And I'm going to make a path just here. So if you click and drag, you can make a nice path. Path doesn't have to be straight. You can do that with the path. Do anything with it really. So I'm just going to make a path that leads just over here. I think that'll do. So now I'm going to change the opacity to, let's say, 9. I'm going to change the brush size to 45 and then select this first one. Actually, I'll change the brush size to 75 and then I'm just going to click repeatedly here. You'll notice the grass kind of changes slight colour, but there's still a distinguishable path there. So we're just kind of overlaying the texture of the dirt on top of the grass. Okay, so next thing we'll do is we'll create a bit of a darker looking dirt. So we'll import dirt001 straight into Unity down here in the asset window. Let's give it a second to import. And there we go. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to go back to our village a little. Zoom in. And edit textures. Add texture. And then drag onto the two little windows just here and click Add. So select again. And let's see, I'm going to pick this tool. Now, if you notice, when you look in your your scene window up top, you can see there are lots of different, well, I suppose blueprints of where it's going to go. So if we were to press that now, not a lot would happen. Our opacity is set far too low. So I'm just going to undo that. So now I'm going to set the opacity to 100, and you'll see it makes quite a big difference there. So the idea of this tool is it kind of mixes up a little. It makes a somewhat random effect, or what appears to be a bit random. So I'm going to change the brush size to 12, and then I'm going to do it just there, and every now and again, just like that along the path. It may seem a very minor thing to do, but it just adds a little level of detail into the game. So I'm now going to select this last one here and do the same again, just every now and again. Like I say, it just adds a little level of detail. So next thing we'll do is we will import dirt 003. So again, drag and drop into Unity. Give it a second to import. Okay. So now, rather than play around with the path, we're quickly going to texture, that's not a word, is it? Texture this mountain-like thing that we have going on over here. So once again, on your terrain, edit textures, add texture, drag and drop straight into the two windows over here, and click add. Make sure you select this, or at least one of these two tools. Let's set the opacity to 100, and let's set brush size to 45. I think 45 may be too big, so let's change it to, let's do 25 just to be safe. And then it's just, sorry, I've clicked the wrong one. Make sure you have this one selected. And then it's just a case of clicking where you want to texture your little mountain. So let's go around the other side. And let's texture this side as well. So our paint tool again. And let's just do that about there. So now for the bottom of the mountain, I'm going to change the opacity to about 21. I'm going to select this one just here. I think 21 may be a bit too deep. Let's try 10. It's going to play around the bottom of the mountain, and we'll use a few different coloured textures just to give it a bit more of a rugged look, if you know what I mean. Just to make it not look as plain or as though it's one single colour. So just play around with these textures that you get, adding different colours, different bits, and a little bit more just around the front here. And let's do a little on the mountain itself. Okay, so let's zoom out. It'll do for now, that's fine. So next thing we'll do is let's play with some water. So this area just here, I'm actually going to raise it quite high. So I'm going to select this tool, select this one. Brush size we actually set to 100. Is that, I think I'll actually set this a little bit bigger manually. I'm going to set this to 150. And opacity is 100. What happens there? That'll do. Yep, that's fine. So I'm going to reduce. Did that work when I set to 150? No, it didn't seem to work. That's not to worry. Let's reduce it slightly to 90. And let's do another one there. So then we select this tool. Third one long to smooth everything. And then we'll just smooth around there. So on this first one, you'll notice it says click to raise and hold down shift to lower. So what I'm going to do is I will, let's set the brush size as, let's set as 48. Hold shift and then click again. And you'll notice we have a depression in the ground. So I'm going to now smooth that out a little, just around the edges. There we go. So now we have a kind of a dip in the ground. So in your asset window down here, right click and import package, and now go to environment. And this will import many different environment items or objects you can use within your game. It has things like, well, what we will be using is water. And it also has things like trees in there, which we'll get around to in a separate tutorial. So for now, you just need to click on import just here. So now this will take just a few seconds to import all the assets that it needs to bring in that we can use. It may take just a few minutes. I'm hoping I won't have to ramble on too long here. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer than expected, as there is quite a bit to import into Unity. If it takes longer than, let's say, 3 minutes, and there may be something wrong, but generally it shouldn't take too long to import. But like I say, don't forget, it has to import quite a bit into Unity. Okay, so while this is while this is importing, I'll have a quick discussion on what we're going to do in our next tutorial. Next time, we're still going to be playing around with our terrain, but we'll also be putting in some trees, and we'll actually be importing a few new objects. Now, people have also asked about scripts and writing code within Unity. That is coming up. We just kind of need to build a nice little world where we can actually write a script. So, for example, we can write a teleport script. We can write a little bit of GUI scripts, different things like that. Movement scripts, day and night scripts. They are all coming. We just, like I say, we just need to build up a little world first to make it look at least somewhat decent. So we're getting there now, importing, and it's taking longer than I would like. I don't really want to ramble on too much. I'm pretty sure you guys may be a little bit sick of my voice after a while. This tutorial's gone on for how long now? Is it? I think we're about 12 minutes into the tutorial. Is that right? I've not really been counting, to be honest. So yeah, we're nearly there now. Last couple of things to import. And there we go. So down here in standard assets, click the arrow. And then click on environment, the arrow just there. And we want water. Now you'll have two folders here, water basic and water. We want water. And then click water again. And go into prefabs. So we're going to use this one, which is Water Pro Daytime. So simply drag and drop into Unity, and let's position where we would like it. So let's have this about there, and we'll change the scale. So we want scale to be, let's say, no, 20 is not enough. Let's try 30 by 30. So you want 30 on the X and 30 on the Z or Z. Now it doesn't matter too much about intersecting the terrain, as that is ideally what we do want. So next thing we'll do is we will kind of paint around here to make it look a bit more like a water's edge. So let's head back to World 001. Let's go to our paint tool and let's have a field day painting around here. There we go. That will do about there for now. So before we go any further, I'm going to collapse the standard assets folder, back into textures, and I'm going to import these two here, dark grass 001, dark grass 002. Bring them into Unity. Give it a second. Okay, so as with all textures on the terrain, add texture. Let's put in dark grass 1. And then let's add the next one, dark grass 002. So this works in the same way we did with the dirt. We just want to create a level of realism to our world. So let's take this, let's change the opacity to about 24, and let's change about 10, I think, maybe. And let's just play around and have a little painting here, there, and everywhere. Let's do the darker grass, I should say. Let's just have a little paint round here. Okay, so now let's play. So everything we've done so far in this tutorial, you can see the light dirt is there by our little buildings, and you can see that there are darker patches where we painted in before. So if we head over this way, and I'm hoping we can actually walk up this hill that we've built. It looks a little steep. Ooh, can we go up? Please go up. Please go up. And we've walked straight through. Very strange. Now, what we need to do there is, I have actually seen somebody say that this has happened to them in a recent comment. First person controller, and let's check. We have, yes, rigid body is fine there. First person character, yep. Okay, so what we're going to do is, because we've kind of walked through that, we're going to go, make sure you have first person controller selected, add component, physics, and let's see, what will be the best thing? We'll do capsule collider. So now if we zoom in, we should be able to see our capsule collider there. So you can either use a box collider or a capsule collider or any sort of collider. It should hopefully do the trick. So I'm just going to move our character over there a little more, press play. With a bit of luck, hopefully, we still go through. Okay. So that's something we're really going to have to play around with. Okay, so trying to think of the best way around this at the moment. So for now, what I'm going to do is let's increase the height just here to make it easier to walk up. Okay, we're having real problems here. I'm not entirely sure why this is happening, I have to be honest. Because when I actually demoed this before the tutorial, it didn't do this. This is one of many quirks of a Unity. And yet here, it happily walks up the ramp. So out of interest, if anyone knows why this is happening, please by all means let me know, because this is slightly confusing. I do not actually know why this has happened. So let's try again, just walking up our terrain. No, I'm afraid I do not actually know why this has happened. I think I should probably have to look into it for the next tutorial. But if we place our character just up here, oops, we'll be able to see the water. put them above so we fall down. And we fall right through. Okay, that I have to say that is very, very strange. I don't know why this is happening. So before we end this tutorial, let's try and see if we can replicate this elsewhere. So let's go to our terrain. Let's build our terrain up over here. And let's place our character on top of this little hill here. And let's see if the same happens. Very interesting if it does. Okay, so I cannot explain why Unity has done this. It's one of the very strange quirks of Unity. Like I say, if you know the answer why, please let me know. I don't know why it's done it. I have to be perfectly honest. So for now, I think I'll leave that tutorial where it is. There seems to be some massive kind of problems. It just does not want to work for me. It doesn't want to work. I can try one more time, hopefully. Put up there. Let's rotate 90. And hopefully have a look at the water on the way down. Okay, so it's not quite working, but you can see the water effect there. So I'll have a look into why this is happening, and hopefully when we get to the next tutorial, we can fix it. So apologies for this insanity, which is Unity, but I do hope to see you in the next tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. Okay guys, so right after I finished recording, I discovered what the problem actually was. I actually skipped a step by mistake. I'm just going to quickly remove what I had done. So make sure you have your terrain selected. You need to add component and physics, and then click rigid body. Then down here, tick is kinematic. It's an absolute schoolboy error. I apologize. It makes me feel like an absolute fool, but that's the reason why it was happening. So now when we press play, we'll fall to earth, but we won't fall through our terrain. And there we can see our water, our little lake. So like I say, we'll play around a bit more next time. But if you are falling through your terrain, if you kind of walk through your terrain, it is because you need to set that rigid body. And in all fairness, we should have set it last episode, but I completely forgot about it. So that's the reason. So yep, set that in and you'll be all good to go. And apologies for the error. Thanks very much for watching.